river, run, run through the hills. Run, river, run to the sea. Run, river, run to your place beneath the sun. Run, river, run over me. Run through.
Hi, it's Jan Lewis here. Welcome to be my guest. Today we have Cote with us, and Kate has been with us many times. She's very much loved. She is the CEO and owner of the Fur Love Comfort Cats, and those of you who don't know will learn a lot today about her and her kitty cats. Welcome, Kate, and her little cat, Zoa Rose. I got it right.
Zoa Rose, that's right.
Zoa Rose. She has been on the show before with us, the kitty. But you have, well, let's see, we've seen a boy kitty, and he survived by miracle, right?
Joey Miracle, that's right, my Siamese, Joey Miracle.
I remember him. Is he big now?
Yeah, he's not as big as you would think he would be, but he's a good-sized boy.
Yeah.
But he's still a kitten, you know. He won't be, I don't think he'll be full-grown until June. He's going to be 2 then.
Okay, yeah. Now, what Kate does, for those of you who don't know, she goes to, nursing homes, you name it, with her Fur Love cat. She'll take a cat with her, and it's very comforting for the people there. They could be in bed. She helped a friend of ours, went twice to visit him, and I know it cheered him up. He had horrendous surgery, but he had that thing around his neck, and I know it made him happy. I think he was all alone in that room, too.
Yeah.
And I think it surprised him, the heck out of him, when he saw her coming in with a cat. For those who don't know, Kate, when did you start this? What made you start this?
I've actually been doing this my entire life. I had a kind of a sad childhood. I was unfortunately a victim of child abuse, and I had severe speech problems and anxiety because of that. And I had what they call now social anxiety. I couldn't speak when I would go out in public, and I had the misfortune to look just like Shirley Temple, you know, so I had the moony face and the curls, and, you know, everybody expected me to break into song, you know, and I couldn't speak, and so, you know, I became very lonely because people would just kind of, you know, it's the sad fact of this world, but when you have something wrong with you, people are just kind of keep their distance, you know. So I found that if I had a little cat with me, it would make me feel better. So I had a little cat that rode my hood with me everywhere that I went, and then as I got older, I just kept doing it. And I said to a friend of mine the other day, you know, I said, you know, well, think about it. If people rode around with their cats more, they would be like my cats, but people don't.
Yeah.
They ride around with dogs. They don't ride around with cats. So because cats don't ever get to travel, they're frightened when they go out because it's new and different.
Yeah.
But because I've been doing this all my life, it's normal to me to go out with a cat. And it's funny because since the pandemic, the cats haven't been going out as much, and people will actually stop me and say, how come you don't have a cat with you?
You said to me that they were out of practice, the kitties. It was months, right?
Yeah, it'll be, I think next week it will be a year that we did our last, you know, regular visit.
Yeah.
And so that was really kind of sad because I was all dressed and I was all ready to go to the facility, and I was hoping to visit this man that we'd had a lot of effect on, and I got the call. They said, don't come. And they said, we're shutting down, you know.
Can you hold her up? I want to. She's in a little tartan, little coat.
She's got a little.
She arrived in a bag. It was so cute. She's like a kangaroo pouch.
Who's a good girl?
So that's Zoa Rose, and she's about how old now?
I think she's 4.
Yeah.
And I have her and her sister, and of course all the kitties have stories, but Zoa Rose is actually a feral kitten. And she and her sister Jemima Ellen were trapped and given to me. And there was another kitty who has since gone to the mansion, sadly, that worked with her and her sister because they hated coming inside. They didn't want to live inside my house, and they hated me. They hated the whole environment. And he worked with them, and it was so funny. He was like, I used to tease him and call him Nana because, you know, if they were wrestling and one of them would give a little screech, you know, he'd run in to make sure everybody was okay.
Yeah.
And so and I have to be careful how I say this because I don't want to set her off, but he would wait for her when she came home for her visits. So he would wash her face and check her out.
Yeah.
Well, now when she comes home for her visits, she cries because she still is looking for him. And I think in December it'll be 3 years that he'll be gone. And when she comes home, she calls, and it'll go on for hours, and it's very, very sad. You know, that's when she thinks of him, is that he's not there to meet her at the door when she comes home.
Cats are like this. I think people think that only dogs can get really bonded, but we found out in our own family, our male cat, Ace, I mean, he looks like a mountain lion, but he is extremely attached. I've never seen a cat so attached to my husband. If my husband takes a shower, oh. If he leaves the house, it's the same thing. If he's snow blowing outside, that cat goes... And I have to say, please be quiet. And I get him he comes into my office, and I pat him and comfort him. He'll sleep right beside my husband. I don't know what it is. I've never seen a cat. Can you get that picture of the kitty?
She's purring away. She's sitting here purring away.
She's so happy. Kate, what is the magic? How do you get these kitties, when they come to you and they're not trained, to be calm and be good for people? You know,
well, they're not trained at all.
Yeah.
You know, I laugh over this because I want to tell you, we actually, this will be our 3rd month now. We got a call from a social worker, and she has a client in Marlboro, and this man has no family. He does not interact with anyone, and they found out somehow that he loves cats, and that's the only time he'll interact with anyone is if they put cat shows on. So she basically moved heaven and earth, you know, to get us to be able to come in and visit this man. He's on hospice care. So the first visit we did, and this was just amazing. I had Jed. Of course, Jed was here the last time, the rag doll. The whole place went in an uproar when I walked in with Jed. And so, you know, Buster had passed away last March, and people don't realize that each cat has their own special little gifts and little talents. And Buster was what I used to call a self-petter, because he would throw people's hands up on his head.
Yeah.
And that was always very helpful with people who have, like, cognitive issues. You know, they would be petting, and then they would get sidetracked or whatever, and they would get off track. He would throw their hand up on his head to get them petting again, to get them interacting with us again. And so when he died, I remember thinking, who's going to do that now? He's the only cat I've ever had in my entire life that's ever done that. So here we are in this new facility. It was Jed's 2nd visit in a facility. The guy stopped petting him, and Jed put his snout under the man's hand and threw it up on his head. I thought I was going to burst into tears, you know, because that was something that Buster always did. Yeah. And so we saw him that time, and the social worker said, I can't believe this is only his 2nd visit. She said, I thought you've been working with him for years. She said, he's doing awesome. And so then the 2nd visit was her turn, and the man, unfortunately, they had changed his meds, and he was in a lot of pain, and so I had brought her because she's smaller, and I thought, well, she can sit on him. So she has her own blanket, and then he had his blanket. Well, she wouldn't sit on those blankets. She kept getting up on his, like, shirt. But she got a little confused because she knows that in the past she wasn't allowed to sit on anybody. So a couple of times she got back in the stroller, and I had to get her back out, you know. Well, when it came time to leave, the guy started to cry. She wouldn't leave him. She would not leave him, and everybody was in tears. I mean, I was even like, I don't believe this, you know, because she was like, no, he's upset. I think I better just stay because he's upset, you know. And they took some really good pictures of her working with him, and she was purring on him and just laying on him, and he was petting her, and you know, it was just so beautiful to see, you know, and like she's not trained to do any of these things.
Gut instinct. Right.
You know, but it comes out, I always say it comes out of their heart.
Yeah.
You know, that they know they have compassion. I think I told you on the last interview, we have this poor cat that someone dumped off, and I really don't want to talk about him too much, but he has attacks, and I got up one morning and he was collapsed in the kitchen. He was crying, and you know, and my cats were all around him, and they were like, help him, help him, you know, you need to do something for Manchak. And they were so, they've accepted him right into the mob, you know. They're like, oh, you're going to be one of us, saying this is great, we love new kitties, you know. And they just, that's just how, you know, because that's how we are at my house. Is that we're friendly and we're visiting and we're always here and there, you know, so the cats, that's how the cats are.
Well, you know, we talked with Kate Cote. She's our resident cat lady. She takes care of these kitties, makes sure they're willing to and able to go to these different places and provide comfort. You hear dogs going in as comfort dogs, but Kate brings the comfort cats to you. And Kate, if anybody has somebody they'd like to have you visit with one of the kitties, can you tell them how they can reach you?
Well, you can hold
I can also hold this up. Go ahead. Read it right off of here. There you go. See that?
You can email me at catlady with a K, catlady109 at hotmail.com. You could go to our website, which is furlovecomfortcats.com, or you could just call me on the phone, which is 508-476-3041. And the cats also have a Facebook page, which is Fur Love Comfort Cats. And this interview will be on our Facebook page.
Can people look at the Facebook page and select a kitty, or you select the kitty that goes?
No, I pretty much pick the cat that I think is going to want to work that day, and you know, the right size. I mean, some of the cats are really big, and like that last visit we did, I wanted one of the smaller cats so she could sit on this man, because unfortunately when Buster was alive, he stepped on someone's hand and they got a skin tear. And I was hysterical. I was bawling my eyes out. And the staff was like, you know, this happens, you know, because people's skin is fragile. But, you know, we want to be careful that we don't have any episodes with people where people could get hurt.
Right. Have you been back visiting now?
No, we only have the one client in Marlborough, so we do that one once a month.
Zoom isn't good, right? That you couldn't do it on Zoom. Well, it wouldn't be the contact, obviously.
No, and I don't think that really works for the people that, you know, are in the nursing homes, because, you know, they do have cognitive issues. They can't hear, they can't see, you know. They have trouble comprehending what's going on, and
I wonder which places are going to open up. I don't know. I really, you know, I think I've probably shared it with you many times, but years ago I read that it happened in a nursing home. I guess it has happened in other places. They would have like a little resident cat. And this is not good. I mean,
that was in Rhode Island. That was Oscar.
Yeah, the cat would go into a patient's room, a resident's room. The cat just knew when the person was going to pass away.
Right.
Oh, God. Do you see that? Have you ever seen that?
Oh, yeah. When we lose cats at the house, they will sit with and put a paw on that cat that's getting ready to pass away and sit with them until they die. But unfortunately with Shiraz, we have to do things a little different, because he gets so upset when he knows one of the cats is going to pass away, and it's happened several times. He tries to get them up. He starts licking them, you know, like he's saying, you know, no, you can't die. Get up. You'll be okay. You know, just get up. You'll be all right. You know, and he actually, you know, makes their time. You know, an unfortunate episode. It's not peaceful, you know, because he gets so concerned about the other cats. But they do. They're very, very kind. And of course, that gives us a perfect segue into my story you wanted me to tell today.
Oh, yeah, go for it.
Because, you know, cats are really family creatures. You know, you listen to all these talking heads on TV and they tell you, oh, cats are solitary and they're this and that. They're not.
No.
Cats in the wild will actually raise other kittens. Like if a mother cat is killed,
Yep.
another cat will take her kittens and raise them. There have been all kinds of stories of, cats, taking care of babies, and because they're social family creatures. And so the other night, I was laying in bed, it was about midnight, the power went out, and I thought...
Oh, here we go. Yeah, I know.
And I thought, all right, good, I'm glad I'm in bed. I had thought to turn the electric blanket on before I got in bed, so the bed was nice and warm and everything, and I thought, all right, I'll just go to sleep, and hopefully during the night, the power will come back on.
Yeah.
So there I am, sound asleep, and about 2 o'clock in the morning, I find myself under this absolute mountain of
A
cats.
tsunami, right?
They were all on top of me.
Could you
I
breathe?
felt-
Could you breathe? But they're on your head, too.
No, but they were like from my neck down. I had a cat on one arm and a cat on another arm. I had two cats between my legs. I had cats on
Why?
my
Did
feet.
they know it? The lights had gone off?
Well, there was no heat.
Oh.
There was no heat, and so and that's what animals do when there's no heat. Everybody piles in together to keep warm.
Yeah.
So they all came in and piled in on me, so that I would be warm, they would be warm. And so it was like 2 o'clock in the morning. I couldn't go back to sleep because I had all these cats on me, these concerned cats. And, some of them were next to me, and some of them were at my, there's like a big pillow that we have at the foot of the bed.
Was
One
it
was
5
on
hours
that.
of this, right?
Yeah, and I'm laying there with all these cats, and I didn't want to, throw them off because then that would have upset them, because that's in their nature.
Yeah.
So then people were trying to make a conspiracy theory out of it. They were saying, oh, well, they were cold, they wanted you to warm them up, but they knew you were cold and they wanted to warm you up. But it's not. It's like that's just what cats do. They all cuddle together, and because they really do care in their little hearts.
Yeah.
And they understand all kinds of things.
She is so congenial. Did nothing upset her? Just like nothing. A new environment. Look at her.
She's, I've been here before, haven't you? Who's a pretty, pretty princess? Are you a pretty, pretty princess? Look at this.
Yeah, elevator butt. That's what our cat has too. Our boy cat, or even the girl cat. Ace is the boy and Zoe is the girl. And if you squish, tickle their and pat them, why do they do that, Kate?
Because that's where the most nerves are in their body, is at the base of their tail. So some cats, you have to be careful because, if you do that to her, she'll bite you or claw you.
She will? Even you? She'll bite you?
Oh, yeah, she'll just go right after you because she has what's called pet aggression, and it's not meaning that she's a pet, but it's caused by petting in the wrong place.
Yeah.
It makes her aggressive.
Wow.
And so when she's working, I have to be careful with Yael that, somebody doesn't do that
But
to
she's
her.
she's not upset now.
No, this is Zoros.
Oh, yeah, okay. The names are, where do you get these gorgeous names?
The Bible.
The Bible. Okay. All right, because look at her. She doesn't mind.
Look at the tails go.
Oh, my God.
But this isn't fun at night when you're laying in bed and you're trying to read on a tablet. And the tail is going back and forth, sliding the screens on your tablet because Zoros thinks the whole world revolves around her.
Yeah. Have you made it so that you can go into the hospitals at all? Has that changed? Or are they still pretty
We
strict?
can't go anywhere.
I mean, no. Have you ever been before the
No,
COVID?
no. Hospitals were always out there for us, but I'm hoping that, if there's one thing we've learned about this pandemic is that we really need each other. We need company. We need people around us. We need our pets. And I don't know if you've heard now, of course it's going back and forth, but they said the shelters are all empty because people have been so lonely that they're adopting pets. There are no pets to be had to be adopted because people, need a pet. And of course now that, companies have gotten their employees into working from home, that may be the new thing, that people won't even go to work anymore. They may work from home. So you don't know. I mean, a lot of things are going to change, but I know that our love of animals is never going to go away. You know, the man that we visited in Marlboro, somebody gave him one of those disgusting mechanical cats, and he said, you know, it's just not the same thing.
No.
He said it's not the same. And I have a funny story about that. I'm sorry, I have to tell this story because I hate those mechanical cats. I really do. I just loathe them. And this woman actually stopped me at the gas station to tell me this story because I had a cat in the car. We were heading out, you know, to do a visit. And she said, "Where are you going?" And I told her, you know, what we did. And she said, "Oh, I wish I had known you when my mother was alive." And I said, and so she told me her mother had been in a facility, and she said, and I bought her one of those mechanical cats, and she said, I went to visit her one day, and I started noticing that the cat around its mouth was all like getting dirty, and so she asked the staff, she said, you know, what's happening to this cat? I paid, you know, those things are like $100. And she said, I paid a lot of money for this, and why is this getting like that? And nobody could tell her. You know why? The mother was getting out of bed at night, sneaking down to wherever they had food, and getting food to feed her mechanical cat, because she said nobody was feeding her cat, and so she was pulling these commando raids in the middle of the night, getting food, and of course it wasn't a real cat, so she was trying to stuff this food down the cat's throat because she didn't want the cat to starve. And
did the robotic cat's mouth literally open for that?
Well, it does open when it talks and stuff, so I don't know, but the woman was furious because she was like, my mother's a fall risk, you know, and here she is wandering around at night feeding her mechanical cat, and you don't think of, like, how people's minds are going to work. You know, like, I don't know what made me think of this morning, but every so often, and we go to in a facility, someone will come up to me and they'll say, you know, there's another lady who visits us with cats, and she's very nice. You would like her. And I go, oh, really? And for the longest time, the penny never dropped that that's me, that they're talking about, that this other lady is me, because they remember the cats, but they don't remember me necessarily. And this was before masks and, you know, all of this. And, you know, but because and a lot of times people appreciated that I bring different cats, you know, because everybody's had certain kinds of cats. But then there are those people who get confused by the fact that I show up with a different cat.
Yeah, they think it's a different person.
And they think it's a different person.
Did you set them straight? That's me.
Well, it's kind of hard to say that to them, you know, because I'll say to them, well, oh, I think you're thinking of me, that's me. And they look like, really? You know, like they don't really believe that it's me.
When do you think this is going to pick up so that you can start again and get back into places to help with the cats?
I don't know. I just don't know. I'm hoping that because of this wonderful social worker, whose name is Jody, by the way, that, you know, she's doing like Zoom meetings with her colleagues and stuff. And I'm thinking that, you know, like the social workers and the families are the ones that are really going to need to start pushing for these visits, because
there are a lot of places. There's a Golden Pond, and it was at Hopkinton. There's plenty of places in Milford. I mean, there's a lot of people in these places who would love to have the cats come.
Well, maybe we could even do hospice care in people's homes.
You know what? We interviewed, forgive me for not remembering her name. She was on the other day. She is a coach, an end-of-life coach and grief coach. She probably knows quite a bit of things. I'm going to connect you to, because I think, bingo, there are no coincidences. I'll bet she might have some info for you and you for her.
Right, and we do grief counseling visits too, you know, because that's, you know, when I started For Love, You know, I thought, well, people would like a cat visit, you know, and I know I would like a cat visit. Well, I mean, this whole thing has just blown me away, the benefits. And one of the things I've learned is that if a person only has one pet and they lose that pet, they're less apt to ever get another pet because
my
they get
mother
so...
didn't. Yeah.
They get so traumatized by the grief that they say, well, I can't ever go through that again.
Yeah.
And so, and then there's a lot of guilt, like, you know, they're not going to get another pet because they feel guilty. And they feel guilty to get another pet. And you can't go to a shelter and just visit their pets.
Sure.
They don't want you there doing that.
Yeah.
So, you know, if people come to us and do grief visits with our cats, it helps them to get over, the cats help to heal them.
Yeah.
You know, I believe animals are very healing.
Yep.
And she's been purring through this whole interview,
She's still
Paul.
purring.
It's-
At this point, I would think some people would be happy enough just to have a guinea pig or a lizard, just to have some kind of creature to love. I mean, did you have a guinea pig growing? I had a guinea pig growing up.
No,
Had a cat.
I've only had cats, and it's funny because my brother has everything. My sister only has dogs, and I only have cats. And so we're sort of a diverse family. She's watching Paul.
Again, this is cat lady, Kate Cote, and she brought Zoar Rose with her today. I'll get that. These names are amazing. She brought her with her today, and when she walked up, she had her in this big bag. It was almost like a mama kangaroo with her baby, and this cat was fine with it. I'm trying to picture our cats at home. Oh, I was sharing with Kate that our male cat has a typical problem with boy cats, I guess. Their urethra goes into spasms, they can't pee very well, and their bladder gets big. We weren't sure what was going to happen. We didn't know if we were looking at something extremely serious, like a mass or cancer. Thank God it wasn't. But I remember having the talk with my husband. I said, look, I don't like, he's been such a great pal for us, and we've loved him for so long, and he, you know, I don't want him to, in other words, be put away here. I don't want him to be put down.
Right.
Let's bring him home. It didn't come to that, thank God, but let's bring him home with pain medicine, and he can pass with us. Is that a bad thing?
I think it's, you know, I think to have them pass at home is best for everybody. It's best for the other cats,
Okay, you
too,
think it is
because
then I was
they
on the right track.
understand. And
Okay.
but there are veterinarians that will come to your home and do the,
Oh,
and it's very, very quick.
Oh, God.
You know, but because we should be careful. We don't want to be talking
No,
about
you don't be
stuff like
scared.
that around
All your
this
kitties
one.
are spayed and neutered.
Except for Jed. Jed hasn't been done yet because of the, you know, the whole COVID thing and everything.
Does he want to get out and get married?
No, he's been pretty good. He has not been a bad boy in any way.
Yeah.
He's done well with it. But, you know, it's funny you should bring that up because I was talking to a lady the other day who lost her husband, and she was telling me in the grocery store that she has a friend that has a shelter, and after her husband died, even though she has adult cats of her own, she just went to this woman's shelter and played with kittens, and she didn't want anybody talking to her. She didn't want anybody asking her how she was doing. She just went in the shelter, and she said that helped her get over her grief, you know. And I said to her, well, that's because they don't ask you if you're all right. You know, I hate that. You fall on the ground and somebody comes along and goes, are you all right? And you're going to go, do you think I'm all right? I just fell on the ground. Why would you ask me if I'm all right?
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
But as people, we do foolish things. We think we need to do something, and we really need to just be kind and just sit with people, and that's what the animals do. These guys just bring peace and purrs.
All right, well, what we're going to do is hold up her sign again and tell them, how can they reach you?
Well, again, we're For Love Comfort Cats. You can email me at katlady109@hotmail.com. You can go to our website, which is forlovecomfortcats.com. You can call me on the phone, which is 508-476-3041, or you can check us out at For Love Comfort Cats on Facebook.
She's on Facebook. Now, one thing that drives me nuts. Somebody will have a Facebook thing or they'll have some site online and they forgot the word contact.
Right.
I'm looking everywhere trying to get... You've got a word, it'll say contact, so you'll be able to get in contact with her. And hopefully, you know, when this COVID thing dies down, you're going to probably talk about tsunami. I would think you'd have a lot of places are going to be opening up, and the residents are going to be like, oh, thank God, and you could bring the cats back.
I hope so, because I think a lot of the gig workers have gone under, you know, like the music people and the other, they've had to do other things to, you know, raise funds, whereas, you know, we've been fortunate.
Yep.
And speaking of raising funds, we're still looking for donations for Matchak, so if anybody wants to donate to the former South Street Kitty, you can use any of these venues to get in touch with me. He goes back to the vet on March 8th. So
donations are what helps you get the cats their medical help.
Right.
Yeah, that's
Well,
important.
for him, you know, because his care has been in the thousands. I mean, he's got like gallbladder problems, he's got IBS, he's got pancreatitis, but he's coming along, and we're hoping that, you know, the meds he's on and stuff are gonna turn him around. I had hoped to give him away, but because he needs so much medical care, that's never going to happen, you know.
What kind of cat is Zor?
Zoros is actually a calico.
But the fur, very big fur.
Yeah, she's long-haired. She's a long-haired calico. I think she has some Maine Coon in her because she has the tufts between her toes like the Maine Coon cats have. So I think her daddy might have been a Maine Coon.
Kate comes in, she's decked out. Even her car has paw all over the front hood. And she's from cat to toe or whatever. She is covered with... One thing I don't... And we're going to have to sign off. But one thing, how do you... I can't, but how do you come in with no cat fur all over anything black?
I know, I get dressed and I run right out the door.
I get covered, and I remember one time I was in physical therapy, and this young guy, one of the helpers, looked over and he looked at my black gym pants. He went, "What's that?" He had never seen anybody with a lot of... What do you think? I grew this fur out? He goes, and someone said, "Are you allergic?" He goes, I'm like, what can you do? I mean, if my child had been allergic to pets, I would have made sure he got the shot. So I don't want to deprive him of an animal, any animal, you know. No way. We're going to sign off now, but, you know, Kate will be back with us. You're going to believe it. We try to have you on at least every 6 months or so, right? She comes and she brings a different kitty sometimes. And again, if you know somebody, hopefully when this COVID takes a hike and they're in a nursing home or hospice, palliative care, in their own home? Will you go to a home? Okay. Kate's there for you with one of her kitties. These kitties are comfort kitties. They're not going to bite or snarl or anything. You've seen how laid back Zora Rose is. I mean, this cat is just, you know, ideal. Thank you, Kate, for coming. We'll see her again, too.
Peace and purrs.
Peace and purrs. See you next time.
On a shooting star, heading out toward a dream. Tomorrow's even closer than it seems. Moving through the cloudless sky, heading out toward the moon. I am dancing to